All right. Now, to the jackass that said, this guy used to make amazing videos. Now he just talks about colors and 369s because that's the fucking base code, asshole. So shut up and go make your own video then, you punk ass. I ain't even seen you on my page before, so who cares? All right. So pay attention here because I'm going to show you a story that crosses completely across the time barriers and is exactly the same thing. This douchebag, this Joel Osteen, right? Remember this guy? Rising star. See him? There he is. This fake fucking, whatever you want to call him, Christian. I was watching him on Sunday, and he was talking about this thing called the threshing floor. You know, when God puts you in the threshing floor and blah, blah, blah. You have to do this and that. And, you know, it's just some rhetoric bullshit. So if we look, Chidon is the place where Uzzah was suddenly struck dead for touching the ark. First Chronicles is also known as Nachon, but it is not known whether Chidon and Nachon were names of men or of places. The place was afterwards called Perez Uzzah, or the breach of Uzzah. Okay, so it's the breach. I don't want to blow it up too big because it gets distorted. The breach. A breach means to break through something. But here's the story of it. Perez Uzzah, 2 Samuel 6:8. The breach of Uzzah, also Perez Uzzah, blah blah, the name given to the place where God struck Uzzah dead for touching the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, this is all bullshit. It's not arc, it's ARC as an electrical. Both 2 Samuel and 1 Chronicles record the sin of Uzzah, the ark being transported on an ox cart. Now that's a really important word, and you'll see why in a minute. As the procession reached the threshing floor, Uzzah touched the ark to stop it from tipping. God killed him for that. Oh, well, how about that? Gee whiz, the ark, which supposedly God was hanging around in or around, he killed him because he stopped it from falling. That's interesting. Where have I heard that story before? Because the place was named Perez Uzzah because the Lord's wrath had broken out. Breached a breach against Uzzah. Breach is like Fukushima when something blows out the side. Not because somebody touched it and somebody got pissed. Okay? The noun Perez H72 must have been a geographical term designated breach or gap in the fortifications of Jerusalem, which served as an entrance through which David had intended to convey the ark. But since the word had blah, 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 the site is unknown. Okay, the key word here is breached. Okay, here's the word ox cart. Okay, now I'm going to take a second. I got to go pull some more files. Okay, so here's the Ark of the Covenant. This is not a K, it's a C, because we're talking about atomic energy here. So let's take a look at this guy. When they were making in the Manhattan Project, when they were making the first atomic bomb, this guy Louis Slotin died. Why? In the biblical story, the ark was going to fall over and somebody grabbed it and they got killed. This guy, if we read, who worked on the Manhattan Project, Sloan accidentally began a fission reaction which released a burst of hard radiation. Basically what happened is he dropped the demon core into the you can go read about it. I've showed you the demon core. That's why all this is atomic. And so he cracked it open and he moved it with his hands. And when he touched it, he got immediately sick and got to the point of death rather quickly. But you know, he's one of these guys, a hero. See, so this is the exact same story. There was an accident, there was radiation released, and there was death. Okay, this guy's dad's name was Israel, by the way. If you want to go look that up. Okay? There is no God in a box. It's atomic energy. Same story biblically in this guy. So what was it that was the key word back here? Let's go back. Ox cart. So I went to go look and see if there's anything that had anything to do with anything that was of an atomic ox cart. So you got one guy here that God supposedly killed him because there was a breach, which means something blew out. Not breach doesn't mean touching. Breach means something blew out. In the Manhattan Project, the guy took a screwdriver and busted the two halves apart, and the atomic energy got out, and it made him sick, and it killed him. Okay? So the word here is ox cart. So let's go see where that ties in. The reason I say ox cart is important is because the OX, the ox, I think is the most, if they're equating an animal to a measure of power. An ox is a very big, strong thing, but it's not refined. It's dangerous. It's like a bull in a china shop. So they use the word ox. So they're removing the ark of the ark on an ox cart. Okay, this is all science right here. Hang on a minute. Now, going on the hunch that the ox cart had something to do with atomic power in some way, shape, or form. I don't normally visit these sites because they're bullshit, but it's the fact that it's still associated with it. Central Intelligence Agency, Project Oxcart and Black Shield were declared on September 2007. Headquarters, blah, 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 blah. Various participants, blah, blah, blah. The Atomic Testing Museum is proud to be the first to acknowledge and welcome home Nevada's secret warriors of the Cold War. So it's here, Oxcart is referring to atomic testing. Okay, so there's the word ox cart associated with atomic again. In the Bible, it was an ox cart that the ark was on. But hang on, let me get some more evidence. Project Oxcart was the experimental test phase that was conducted in secrecy, matching the Manhattan Project, which was what? Creating an atomic bomb. So you've got Oxcart in the Bible with an accident and a guy gets killed. You got a guy in the Manhattan Project. And now they're using the same phrase, ox cart, dealing with atomic energy. The pilots, blah, 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 blah. See the 29 combat missions, North Vietnam, 2 primarily targeted, chaos and flew 3 over Korea, blah, blah, blah. It's not really important. It's what is important is that it's telling you the same story all over again. There is no God in a box. It's atomic energy. And what's really interesting, let me show you this. Because when I looked up the original thing in the Biblical Encyclopedia, look what's sitting right across from it. 1 second. You may have to blow up your screen to see it, but I'll read it. Chidon, the threshing floor, the place where Uzzah was suddenly struck dead. 1 Chronicle 9 is also called Nachon. I showed you this in the very beginning of this video. Amazingly, right across from it is what? The thing that started me on this thing over 6 years ago or 7 years ago, 2007. Oh, wait, fuck, longer than that. What? 7 years ago? Or 7 or 8, whatever. Here it is. Chayun. An idol worship by the Israelites in the wilderness. Amos 5:26. It seems to have been the planet Saturn. So, here, after all this time, I wind up with this right there. This taking me right back to this. Right the fuck where I started. Chayun and Saturn and atomic energy. Where I started in 2007. So, this is all about power. It's about fucking power. You're going to tell me a story from the Bible? Some guy grabbed the ark to stop it from falling off, and God got mad at him and killed him because he touched it. But touching is not a breach. A breach is when you blow a hole in something or a crack or something. The guy in the Manhattan Project made the same mistake because he lifted the two halves apart and the atomic energy got out and it made him sick and it killed him. Both of the stories have an ox cart in it. It's not coincidental. It is not coincidental. This is about atomic energy. It's amazing that this whole thing about this threshing floor and Chayun is right across from the other thing. The guy was talking about it Sunday. Oh, when God puts you on the threshing floor and all of that, because I didn't know that word. So there's definitely something going on atomic, or they wouldn't have been giving that sermon on Sunday on that bullshit Saturn Christian TV station. It absolutely is. There's too much evidence. There's too much fucking evidence. Bullshit on your fucking truth or bullshit. The truth is right here.